A woman lost her husband and both of her sons. And when she came home, she asked people to stop calling her by her name. "Call me bitter," she told them. "That is what I am now." The story never calls her that. What did you name yourself? Not out loud in the way you tell it when somebody asks how you ended up here. Something happened to you, and then it stopped being something that happened. It became who you are. She said she came home empty, and the woman who would not leave her was standing right there when she said it. She was right about what she lost. She was wrong about her name. Ruth chapter 1. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. Bethlehem means house of bread, and the house of bread had no bread, so 𝐆𝐚𝐫𝐿 left his wife, went with him Naomi, and their 2 boys. They went to Moab to stay for a while. 𝐆𝐿𝐴 died there. Her sons married women from Moab, Orpah and Ruth. A while turned into 10 years, and then both sons died too. 3 deaths in a country they had only meant to stay in for a while. She came to Moab a wife with 2 sons. She was leaving it a widow with 2 widows. Then word came from home God had given his people food again. The famine was over. So she got up to go back, and both daughters-in-law went with her. And somewhere on that road, Naomi turned to them and told them to go home. "Go, return each of you to her mother's house." They cried and said no. So she said it again. And this time she told them why she had no more sons. And even if she had a husband that night and bore sons later, would they wait for them to grow up? They cried again. And Orpah kissed her and went back. Ruth clung to her. And Naomi tried one more time. Her sister-in-law had gone back to her people, and her gods Ruth could go to. Her husband was gone, both of her sons were gone. And on the road out of that country, she kept trying to send away the family she had left. Then Ruth answered, "Do not urge me to leave you, or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God." Set on a road by a foreign widow, to the woman who had tried again and again to send her back. And Naomi saw she had made up her mind. So she stopped talking Naomi. Ruth the Moabite, 2 women, walking to Bethlehem. They reached Bethlehem about 10 years gone, and the whole town stirred. "Is this Naomi?" Naomi means pleasant. She heard them say it and asked them to stop. "Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went away full, and the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi, when the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has brought calamity upon me?" Mara means bitter. She stood in the town she had left and asked the women of Bethlehem to call her something else. Bethlehem did not undo Moab. The road home did not give her back the husband and sons she lost there. She was right about what was gone. There is no we in her sentence. I went away. The Lord brought me back empty. And Ruth was standing right there, close enough to touch a woman who had lost a husband too, who had tied her people and her country and her God to this woman's road. And the book does not answer her with a lecture. It does not tell her to look on the bright side. It does not answer empty with at least. It just gives us the next line. So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, with her, who returned from the country of Moab. And they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of barley harvest. She said empty. And the next line names who was standing beside her. The graves were real. Ruth did not make them smaller. And the graves did not make Ruth disappear. Grief could tell the truth about what she had lost. It could not tell the whole truth about who she was.
You never asked anyone to call you Mara. You kept your name. You only changed the way you tell your life. The same address has been on your mail for years. You still call it temporary. Somebody says you have a good life and you say thank you. Then you explain. Every good thing has an asterisk beside it. Good, considering home, for now happy. But not the way you thought happy would look. You do not hate this life, you take care of it. You keep the lights on, you show up. You just keep it at arm's length, close enough to protect, far enough that loving it could never be mistaken for a grain. And nobody is asking you to call the graves good. They were graves. You stopped asking for the old life back a long time ago. You just never quite agreed to belong to this one. And there are things in this life now you could not bear to lose, which is why you stopped asking to go back. So you stopped asking to go back. You just refused to arrive. You leave the good things standing at the edge of your life, love taken care of, and never let it all the way in. Naomi tried to send Ruth back. Ruth kept choosing to stay. Sometimes what remains has to outlast our grief before we learn how to take it in. It was harvest when they got there. The bread had come back. So Ruth went out to the fields to pick up what the workers left behind, a foreigner walking behind the reapers gathering leftovers. And the field she walked into belonged to a man named Boaz. He had already heard about the road, the country she left, the people she came to, the woman she would not leave. And he said this over her: "The Lord repay you for what you have done, and a full reward be given you by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." Later, Ruth came back to Naomi carrying barley, and she told her something Boaz had said. "You must not go back empty-handed to your mother-in-law." Empty-handed. The book has a word for a relative who steps in and buys back what a family lost. Redeemer. And a closer relative had the right before Boaz did. He was willing to take the land. Then Boaz told him what redemption would require: Ruth, and the duty of keeping the dead man's name alive in his inheritance. "I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I impair my own inheritance." He stepped back. Boaz did not. Boaz took Ruth as his wife, and a son was born. And once again, the women of Bethlehem spoke to Naomi, the same town where she had come home asking to be called Mara. Blessed be the Lord, who has not left you this day without a redeemer. For your daughter-in-law, who loves you, who is more to you than 7 sons, has given birth to him. More to you than 7 sons, said to the woman who came home and called herself empty, about the one who was standing beside her when she said it. Then Naomi took the child and laid him on her lap, and the women named him, and this is what they said: a son has been born to Naomi. Naomi, not Mara. She asked them to change her name. The book never did. 𝐆𝐚𝐫𝐿 did not come home, neither did her sons. The child did not replace them. The harvest did not make the graves good. The story kept the graves, and it kept going. They named the boy Obed. He was the father of Jesse, the father of David. And generations later, Matthew wrote the genealogy of Jesus, and he wrote her, and Boaz, the father of Obed, by Ruth. Her own book never lets you forget where she came from. The Moabite again and again, even in the final chapter, and the line came through her anyway.
Bethlehem means house of bread. This story starts with no bread in it. And that same town would be the birthplace of the one who said, "I am the bread of life." Say one good thing out loud, one thing that is here now. You do not have to call the road good to call this good. Now say your name, not the one the worst thing gave you. The book never calls the graves good. It just keeps calling her Naomi. You were right about what you lost. You were wrong about your name.
There is bread on this table, and I cooked it, and it is good. I keep waiting for the part where I say, but somebody sat in that chair this morning and told me about their day, and I answered, and I did not explain how I got here. So come in, you have been standing in that doorway for years. Come in, you were always allowed in this house. I kept you at arm's length. I kept you where the light was thin. I thought if I held you close, saying the rest of it was fine. It was never fine, and you did not do it to me. You are what was still here when I finally looked up. So come in, you have been standing in that door for years. Come in, you were always allowed in this house. I gave myself a name in the worst week of my life, and I have been answering to it ever since. And then somebody said my name from the other room, the old one.